All right, guys, welcome back to the Anchor. I'm Wikum.
I'm Jessie.
I'm R. Kelly.
Nobody wants to be R.
Yeah, why
Kelly.
do you be R. Kelly, bro?
I take that back.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Charlottesville today.
Let's do it.
So Charlottesville, everyone knows. If you don't know, it was the White Nationalist March in Virginia, which is another word for Nazis. You know, the White Nationalist movement is about a pure white America, and for me, I don't know. When I saw this, I kind of was surprised and not surprised, because I was surprised in that that it's 2017 and there's still people who believe in the Nazi movement. And then I wasn't surprised because I was like, oh yeah, Donald Trump's the president. So it was kind of like, yeah. And I think it's super ironic to be a white supremacist or a Nazi and be a proud American, because we had a whole war about this and America was against the Nazis. You know what I mean? So it's super contradictory. But I feel like this is all just accountable to Donald Trump. I feel like he was elected as a white lash because
Against Obama?
Yeah, because of a black president, gay marriage, and all this stuff for minorities, and people just were sick of it, so they just lashed out and irrationally elected this guy. And now a lot of some parts of America are really racist, and now it's being uncovered. So what do you guys think about that?
I'm wondering if it was always this bad, or if Donald Trump and his election and all that brought it out, or fueled the fire. So I'm just curious to see how bad was it before Donald Trump, or maybe it was undercover, and how bad is it now? I feel like it's definitely I don't ever remember hearing about another march like this before. This is the first one I've heard of, and I was really shocked, honestly. I was like, there's no way people would do that, but they definitely did. And it's really sad, honestly.
So I have this class, this philosophy class, and the other day when we were in this heated discussion almost, we were talking on the subject about cultural relativism, and that actually had a lot of connections into this situation in particular, because cultural relativism is basically saying you can't judge someone else on their cultural practices based on what they're doing now, because it's been passed down to them through history. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
It does make sense, but at the same time, there's things as an American, as just a human being, that you just shouldn't do. And I don't care if that's culture or history. There's just a line of respect.
Yeah, and
what's that line though?
People say it's history to have the Confederate statues, but I've been to Berlin and they don't have Nazi propaganda in the public streets. They have them in museums where I could go see them, because they are history that belong in museums. You know what I mean? They're super ashamed of that. You know.
Exactly.
So I think the history argument is kind of, compared to Germany, it's in the museums. You know, and I'd like to talk about X and Temptation, XXX Tentacion. His new music video.
Tentacion.
Oh my gosh,
Look
yeah.
at the music video.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So in that video, he has he's hangs like a white kid, and it's really if you watch it, it's really uncomfortable to watch.
Well, first there's two. There's a little black boy, and then there's a little white boy, and then X comes up and there's a rope and it's hanging there, and I think everyone goes to oh, they're gonna make the little white kid hang the other kid, and it's not that at all.
And he hangs the white kid, and you're so used to seeing imagery of African Americans being hung that it's it's
sucks,
almost
bro.
uncomfortable to see a white kid hung, but then it's wow, that's kind of weird that I'm uncomfortable to see the white kid hung.
And
you know?
then
that's just programmed institutional racism. And at the end, he had a little spoken word poetry thing where he was talking about. He made some good points. He was the whole argument of white supremacy is that you're a supreme being, but if they really were a supreme being, why are they made uncomfortable by the opposition's color? If you really are the supreme race, then why does it bother you so much that minorities are killing it in the culture right now, you know?
So why does it always have to be white people versus minorities, you know? Because
I feel because since they Manifest Destiny, they pushed everyone out, and that's why it started, I think. With the Native Americans, Mexicans being here and stuff. It was this this like home, like if someone came into your home and was like, this is my home now, and you'd just be like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And they didn't have like the weaponry to like combat that or whatever. So it's always been this like,
it's white versus minorities because it's always been European countries like taking over.
yeah, colonization.
South America and the Spanish,
just like
and then
all
like
over.
Manifest Destiny, and it's always been, you know, like I feel like minorities should be blamed for creating this us versus them mentality. They created that when they started colonizing.
You said minorities do?
They
No,
shouldn't be blamed.
They shouldn't be blamed. Like it shouldn't be like you guys are making us versus them, but it's like no, white people made us versus them when they colonized minority countries. You know what I'm saying? So since then, it's been the aftermath of that, and today it comes out in very subtle ways, like white privilege. Like I think white privilege is a real thing, and I don't think it's up for debate whether it's real or not. You know, statistically it's true. So factually it is true. There is a white privilege, and so these minorities are angry because they feel unheard by like.
Right.
The
like,
mass
no
media, because
voice.
it's like white privilege is such a subtle phenomenon that if you've experienced it, it's really hard to tell someone else what it's like. It's really, really difficult.
Very hard.
And like if you're a white person, I have plenty of white friends who completely try their best to understand it, and they do, and that's great. And there are some people who just kind of like, oh, I don't know, that sounds fake, and just kind of like makes them uncomfortable, you know? But I think it's totally a real thing, and this is just like a result of, to be honest.
You talking about Charlottesville?
What?
You talking about Charlottesville?
Yeah, Charlottesville. I'm not surprised that this happened because I've seen racism since I was a little kid, you know? Like, I was born and raised in the South Bay of California, and those are beach cities, and there's a crazy underground like Nazi white supremacist world in Hermosa Beach, you know? You don't know, but I know, you know? And I wasn't surprised, and as soon as Trump came, they were all backing him, you know? But no one believed me, you know? I was like the crazy dude who's like dropping all his papers, like, oh, there's Nazis, and they're like, you're crazy, it's 2017, gay marriage is legal. But there is, so that's why I wasn't surprised, because like all Donald Trump did was like give them a voice and a platform, you know? But they were always there.
So where do you think this is all going though? Like,
Honestly, it feels like people are tired of it. Like, I feel like, I don't want to say it's going to be like another civil war or whatever, but I feel like we've seen it through like the protests, through the marching. People are just getting really tired of all this like racism that's going on. It's been an issue for so long. And
this sneaky racism too. It's like
Yeah.
underlying racism.
Yeah,
like the
it's-
worst is
Yeah.
You can't even call them out on it, because it's like, you know, it's
Yeah,
really
like, you
subtle,
don't-
it's the worst.
If you're gonna be racist to me, bro, just be racist. Like,
Yeah.
don't hide it. Like,
Yeah.
then you're a weirdo. Like, just tell me if you don't like me because I'm black.
Yeah, I know people who like have gone to those like Nazi parties and they try to hug me. I'm like, don't hug me. Like, what? How can you be to those parties and try to like be friends with me?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's just
if you
backwards.
are a racist and you are a white supremacist, why are you hiding, bro?
Why are you hiding,
Why
bro?
are you hiding?
Why
Like,
are you? It's 2017.
Inglorious Bastards,
Get
Quentin
out.
Tarantino, right? At the end, what did they do to the Nazi? They put a swastika on his forehead so everyone knows that he's a Nazi. You know what I mean?
And then they cut it off and ate it. It's like I'm playing.
No,
I'm
it's
playing,
not
I'm playing.
at all.
That's an alternative ending.
But you know, it's like it's because they're cowards. Racism is a fear-based phenomenon. Okay, like
Racism is so stupid.
it's fear-based. It's fear that
So
the
stupid.
KKK started with black people being freed as slaves, and they were taking the jobs of the white man because the minimum wage would be like, say, like, I don't know, like 30 cents. I'm just throwing numbers out here. And the black man who just literally was freed from being a slave is like, oh, I'll work for like 2 cents. I don't care. I'm getting paid. I'm not a slave. I don't care. So they're taking all these jobs. So then white people were afraid. They were really afraid. So they like had the KKK and like racist white people, not all white people. So they had the KKK and they dressed them as ghosts because black people are very religious. So like it was all fear-based. It's all they're afraid. And that is proven as a point in the beginning of the KKK. And it's also proven now is in like, these people are cowards. When their photos are put online,
Straight
like
up.
they didn't want their photos to be on Twitter, like, oh, I'm like secretly a Nazi. But it's like, why is it a secret if you're so supreme, you know?
Yeah.
This is something we just had to address just because the racial tensions in America right now are undoubtedly strengthening. Like, you can feel it in the air being here that just like there's something on the horizon, you know what I'm saying? And like we had to take the time to address what happened down there and that we don't tolerate any sort of racism.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
I think in the grand scheme of things, the racists are losing, you know, because statistically, hip hop, a black-dominated genre, is the #1 genre in the U.S.
Woo woo!
Statistically, that's a
Lit.
fact. Okay,
Hey.
and on top of that, like minorities are getting all these crazy roles in Hollywood. Hollywood's trying to make like movies about women. They're trying to
Yes.
be feminist.
Yes.
You know, we're getting movies about like Aziz Ansari, you know, repping the brown people, like killing it, like screw
That's
the
a whole nother
stereotypes.
topic too about Hollywood not.
Portrayals, yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Did we
but-
talk about this?
We
We had
did,
an
Ghost
episode about
Shop.
this.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
back.
go on.
Take
Go
out the
back.
ghost shops.
So I think in the grand scheme of things, they are losing. That's why they have to protest like this, because they're losing, and there's
Yeah.
no way for them to win, really.
I
you know?
just feel like this whole like racism idea is so stupid because it's like, how am I going to like hate or like be like so rude to people for literally something they have no control over? Like, you cannot control your physical features at all. That was like predetermined with your parents, with your ancestors, all that. So like, what is the point of me just like hating someone for something they literally can't control? It just blows my mind. Like, I really don't get it.
Yeah, and I think this is gonna go away. I think this, you're asking like what's this leading to. I think this is gonna end in not a violent way. It's gonna end really, really slowly, and it's gonna fade out over time. And I'll tell you why. Is because our generation, the millennials, we're the ones who see this and like
Yeah.
don't accept it. But the older generation like kind of make excuses for these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
older generations.
And a lot of the
are
times it's religion,
racist.
too.
Old heads are more racist than millennials. That's just a fact.
And
Call me
old
sensitive,
heads
call me
right
whatever,
now-
but one day I'll be here and you won't be. You know what I mean? Our generation
Yeah.
will be here and the dominant population here, and then like our kids will be even more. They'll probably think we're racist. You know what I mean?
For real.
So
Yeah.
it's like a more and more progressive like generation thing, and I think over time it'll go away.
But as millennials, let's definitely push for equality.
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
All the way
Definitely.
around.
But all right, guys. Well, that is our views on Charlottesville. If you have any
Peace.
comments, if you have any questions, arguments, comment down below.
People in
Please
the
like
background
the
falling
video.
asleep.
Yeah, we got people in the crew falling asleep back there. I think Stephanie's phone went off.
Hey, yeah, the whole.
Oh, okay. Well,
But it's all good, y'all.
yeah, I wasn't her
It's
phone. I'm just kidding. Share our video. Follow us on Snapchat at MCU the Anchor. We'll put a little icon right here. And yeah, thanks guys for listening.
Thank you.